I recall the day vividly that I found out that I lost my first pregnancy. My husband and I went in for our routine appointment feeling excited to hear our baby's heartbeat for the first time. But instead, we discovered that our baby no longer had a heartbeat. To say we were shocked and devastated would be an understatement. I felt like my life was completely turned upside down. I felt angry, incomplete, confused, and utterly heartbroken. And I wanted answers. I wanted to know, why did this happen? How will I possibly get through this? And how can I heal and move forward when at the moment I have no idea how I will possibly ever be the same again? It is through this miscarriage and 2 other pregnancy losses that I felt the need to answer these questions, not just on a physical level, but on a spiritual level. I'll summarize what I went through so that you can get a glimpse into my ups and downs and what came through these experiences and what I believe the answers to these 3 questions are. Those words echoed in my mind for a long time. There is no heartbeat. I was 12 weeks along when it was discovered. I was stunned and in denial for hours after finding out, but eventually reality sunk in and I couldn't stop crying. 4 days later, I had a D&C procedure which left me feeling empty, defeated, and in a good amount of pain, both physically and emotionally. Each day was a reminder that I was no longer pregnant and I was mad. I felt cheated and alone and that no one could understand what I was going through. It took me months to find my new normal. My second pregnancy loss ended again with no heartbeat, this time at 8 weeks. And at this point, I felt like my life was playing a cruel joke on me. I didn't understand why I was going through all of this. After months of trying to get pregnant again without success, I finally came to a point of mental and emotional exhaustion that I decided to relinquish control and allow God to take over. I had to. It wasn't easy though. I still had a lot of negative emotions surrounding what happened, and I wasn't yet at peace with it, but I told God that I was ready to have a healthy pregnancy and I would do my best to wait for the right timing for that. After declaring this, I did all that I could to move forward in the most positive ways possible. I focused on my relationships and work, I went to the gym, and I meditated more often to try to find some peace and greater meaning. When I did this, I began to notice the blessings it brought and how my life began to shift. There was still more, however, that I was meant to learn through loss. My third pregnancy loss was a turning point for me. Upon coming into my second trimester, and the day I planned to tell my family and friends that I was pregnant, I discovered that I would need to have another procedure done. I kept asking God what I could do for it not to be true. After a lot of crying, I eventually came to a point of acceptance and complete surrender. What I didn't fully realize until I experienced the depths of my grief is that in any given moment in our life, we can call upon something deeper than ourselves to help us heal and move forward from our grief. Through all of these experiences, I would say that the number one thing I did to heal my suffering was I surrendered. I completely let go of my desire to control what I couldn't, and I put all of my faith in a greater plan. I began to realize that it is possible to co-write our life story with God. Whether you've had a miscarriage, had to make an important decision about the fate of your pregnancy, or whether something happened after birth, is a time of deep heartbreak, and we are faced with needing to find a way to heal and move forward despite feeling that we can't go on sometimes. I believe that perhaps the best answer to why we have these experiences is that through them, we have the opportunity to make significant transformations in our life from the inside out, that we find a new awareness within ourselves, and because of that, the things around us change. I believe that when we put our full faith in a greater plan and in ourselves, we have the greatest starting point by which to begin healing. I believe that when we harness the power of our thoughts so they don't cause us further suffering in those times where we recount what happened and what we believe should have happened, and we focus instead on the solution to our suffering, that we can begin healing. I believe that when we take action in our life in a loving way, where we can take steps to heal ourselves as well as help those around us, we can begin healing. The first thing I did was I fully allowed myself to feel the grief and emotions as they came, day or night. I prayed, I journaled, I asked why, I cried a lot. I sought out support from those who had similar experiences. The second step was when I was ready, I accepted that God had a different plan for me, and I had faith that it was for my highest benefit, and I surrendered to that. The third step was I asked for guidance from God. I got clear on the type of life I wanted to live, and I offered this vision up to God. As a part of this vision, I declared that I was open to a life of greater purpose in whatever way I was guided. And as a final step, I took tangible action toward healing and moving on from these experiences that at times literally brought me to my knees. By fully enjoying my family and work, and I focused on losing the weight that I had gained from this pregnancy, not just the physical weight, but the emotional weight. When I did this, when I surrendered, when I got clear on what I wanted in my life, and I offered this vision and myself up to God, when I took positive actions for myself and those around me, my life changed, and my prayers all began to be answered in time, one by one. I believe that we're never alone in this life. I believe that we can get through our times of challenge and suffering and come out of it more empowered and more complete. And I believe that through faith and surrender, we can get the answers that we seek and have what we need to begin healing and shift our life in truly profound ways.